Hello, welcome to the virtual public meeting for the US 41 at Gulfstream Roundabout construction project. My name is Alice Ramos, and I'm the Community Outreach Specialist on the project and will serve as the moderator during the meeting. We will now begin our presentation.
Thank you for joining the Florida Department of Transportation District 1 in this virtual public meeting for the US 41 at Gulfstream Avenue Roundabout construction project. The financial project ID number is 438137-1-62-01. Today is December 16th, 2020, and the time is 5 p.m. The following presentation will provide you with information on planned improvements for US 41 at Gulfstream Avenue. In addition, you will find out what to expect during construction, including the project schedule and traffic impacts. Following the presentation, project representatives will be available during a comment period to answer pertinent questions regarding the project. Attendees will be in listen-only mode throughout the presentation and comment period. This is to ensure everyone has the opportunity to have their concerns and/or questions addressed without interruption. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on FDOT District 1 project webpage at www.swflroads.com/Gulfstream Roundabout. Additional project information can also be found on the project webpage. The Florida Department of Transportation is required to comply with various non-discrimination laws and regulations, including Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Public participation is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns relative to FDOT compliance with Title VI may do so by contacting FDOT District 1 Title VI Coordinator Cynthia Sykes at 863-519-2287, or you can email her at cynthia.sykes@dot.state.fl.us. Please welcome our project representatives Jim Nichols, Pinky Pakalapati, and Alice Ramos, who will be addressing your comments and questions after the presentation. Jim is the FDOT Project Construction Manager for this project, and Pinky is a project engineer who will be overseeing the contractor on behalf of the department. Alice is a Community Outreach Specialist who will provide ongoing project information to the public on the project's progress and construction activities. The Florida Department of Transportation District 1 began a Project Development and Environment Study, also known as a PD&E study, in June 2016 to evaluate improvements to the intersection at US 41 and Gulfstream Avenue in Sarasota County. Alternatives under consideration included a roundabout and improvements to the existing signalized intersection. The study evaluated the social, economic, and environmental effects of the proposed improvements and determined a multi-lane roundabout as a preferred intersection alternative. Below is a graph depicting the study timeline. A roundabout is a circular intersection with traffic flowing counterclockwise around a center island. Roundabouts offer several benefits, such as reducing severe injuries and fatality crashes up to 90%, reducing maintenance costs as less equipment is needed, are more environmentally friendly as vehicles do not sit idling at stoplights. Splitter islands offer pedestrians and bicyclists a refuge spot to pause as they cross the road, allowing for safer crossings, and slows traffic speed to improve safety while maintaining traffic flow. The purpose of this project is to replace the existing signalized intersection on US 41 at Gulfstream Avenue with a multi-lane roundabout to improve non-motorized connectivity and access, as well as vehicular traffic flow and operations between the City of Sarasota's downtown Central Business District, the Bayfront area, and Barrier Islands. The project is scheduled to begin in February 2021 and is anticipated to be completed in late fall 2022. The contractor performing the work will be Russell Engineering. The construction, engineering, and inspection services will be performed by CDM Smith, and community outreach will be led by the Valerian Group. The estimated cost of the project is $8.6 million. In addition to replacing the signalized intersection on US 41 at Gulfstream Avenue with a multi-lane roundabout, This project will include installing a Hawk pedestrian crossing signal system, constructing raised pedestrian refuge islands, replacing underground drainage facilities, utilities, fiber optic communications, irrigation, landscaping, LED street lights, and reconfiguring stormwater retention ponds. New sidewalks and pedestrian walkways will also be constructed. Hawk is a high-intensity activated crosswalk beacon that facilitates pedestrian crossings without a fully signalized intersection. Hawk provides a cost-effective option for crossings at mid-block and unsignalized intersections. Unlike conventional pedestrian signals, Hawk is only operational when activated by a pedestrian. Hawk systems are being used with greater frequency for the additional safety they provide to pedestrians and minimize traffic delays. Hawk works in conjunction with conventional pedestrian signal heads at each end of the crosswalk that indicate walk and don't walk. For a driver, a Hawk signal appears differently than other traffic lights. When the signal is activated, drivers are cautioned with a yellow flashing signal to prepare drivers to stop. Drivers must stop at the sustained red light, and only when the pedestrian has cleared the crosswalk and the red signal is flashing, the motorist can proceed with caution. Once the pedestrian has cleared the travel lane and the flashing red light is complete, the Hawk will go dark again. The Hawk signal remains unlit until a pedestrian activates the signal by pressing a push button. After a short delay, the actuated beacon then begins to flash yellow to warn motorists that the beacon has been activated. Pedestrians must wait for the person walking image signal to safely cross. Pedestrians should not cross while the solid red hand image is displayed and only cross when they are indicated to do so. Make sure to stay alert to traffic and stay within the marked crosswalk. We invite you to watch the Hawk Pedestrian Signal System video by visiting the project webpage at www.swflroads.com/Gulfstream Roundabout. During the construction of this project, some activities will require the contractor to implement temporary detours and lane closures for the safety of the traveling public, pedestrians, and bicyclists. Advance notifications of traffic impacts will be provided to the public. In addition, the speed limit in the vicinity of US 41 and Gulfstream Avenue will be reduced to 25 miles per hour during construction. The contractor will perform construction activities during daytime hours with occasional nighttime activities. Access to businesses will be maintained. Prior to the start of construction, the City of Sarasota will relocate the unconditional surrender statue and complexus sculpture. The estimated duration of pre-phase is 100 days. Construction activities during pre-phase include work in the median areas, site clearing, removal of trees, brush, and other materials, construction of temporary pavement for upcoming phases, realignment of traffic signals at Golden Gate Point and Main Street, stormwater retention pond realignment, sewer and water main relocation, partial drainage improvements, and the right turn into the parking area on the north side of Marina Jack will be closed. No changes to the existing traffic pattern will take place during this phase. During the pre-phase, the following traffic movements will be in place. Route A, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 North, eastbound to northbound. Travel east on State Road 789, turn left at the intersection onto US 41 North. No change from current condition during pre-phase. Route B, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 South, eastbound to southbound. Travel east on State Road 789, turn right at the intersection onto US 41 South. No change from current condition during pre-phase. Route D, traveling south on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, southbound to westbound. Travel south on US 41, turn right onto State Road 789 West. No change from current condition during pre-phase. Route E, traveling south on US 41, southbound through. Travel south on US 41, continue straight through the intersection. No change from current condition during pre-phase. Route F, Traveling north on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, northbound to westbound. Travel north on US 41, turn left onto State Road 789 west. No change from current condition during pre-phase. Route H. Traveling north on US 41, northbound through. Travel north on US 41, continue straight through the intersection. No change from current condition during pre-phase. The estimated duration of Phase 1A is 100 days. Construction activities during Phase 1A include diverting traffic onto the newly constructed pavement, stormwater infrastructure and water line installation, and complete realignment of stormwater retention ponds. In addition, a major portion of the center of roundabout construction and partial lanes on the western and southern legs will be underway during this phase. During Phase 1A, the following traffic movements will be in place. Route A, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 north, eastbound to northbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to turn left at the intersection onto US 41 north. Route B, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 south, eastbound to southbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to turn right at the intersection onto US 41 south. Route C, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards downtown, eastbound through. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to go straight through the intersection. Route D, traveling south on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, southbound to westbound. Travel south on US 41, follow new traffic pattern, turn right at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. Route F, traveling north on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, northbound to westbound. Travel north on US 41, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to go left at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. The estimated duration of Phase 1B is 60 days. Construction activities during Phase 1B include removal of old water lines, installing remaining portions of the roundabout, preparing and paving median areas on the northern and western legs, and shifting the southbound right turn lane into a slip lane, allowing motorists turning westbound to bypass the roundabout. During Phase 1B, the following traffic movements will be in place. Route A, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 north, eastbound to northbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to turn left at the intersection onto US 41 north. Route B, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 south, eastbound to southbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to turn right at the intersection onto US 41 south. Route C, traveling east from Barrier Islands towards downtown, eastbound through. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to go straight through the intersection. Route D, traveling south on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, southbound to westbound. Travel south on US 41, follow new traffic pattern, turn right at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. Route F, traveling north on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, northbound to westbound. Travel north on US 41, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to go left at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. The estimated duration of Phase 2A is 90 days. Construction activities during Phase 2A include construction of the Hawk pedestrian crossing signal system, installation of remaining underground drainage structures, new utilities, fiber optic communications, and LED streetlights. Portions of the northern and western legs and minor parts of Gulfstream Avenue will be constructed in this phase, and eastbound traffic will be shifted to a partial roundabout pattern. All other movements will remain per previous phase. During Phase 2A, the following traffic movements will be in place. Route A. Traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 north, eastbound to northbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the new partial roundabout to turn left at the intersection onto US 41 north. Route B. Traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 south, eastbound to southbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the new partial roundabout to turn right at the intersection onto US 41 south. Route C. Traveling east from Barrier Islands towards downtown, eastbound through. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new traffic pattern along the new partial roundabout to go straight through the intersection. Route D. Traveling south on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, southbound to westbound. Travel south on US 41, follow new traffic pattern along the new partial roundabout and turn right at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. Route F. Traveling north on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, northbound to westbound. Travel north on US 41, follow new traffic pattern along the curve to bypass the new partial roundabout towards State Road 789 west. The estimated duration of Phase 2B is 100 days. Construction activities during Phase 2B include installation of the Hawk pedestrian crossing signal system, restoration of the Bayfront Park entrance and parking lot, pouring outside curbs and sidewalks, milling and resurfacing all tie-in points, final asphalt paving and pavement markings, and placement of final signage. During this phase, work will continue on Gulfstream Avenue and medians throughout the project limits. Traffic is expected to be in the final roundabout configuration. During Phase 2B, the following traffic movements will be in place. Route A. Traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 north, eastbound to northbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new roundabout pattern to turn left at the intersection onto US 41 north. Route B. Traveling east from Barrier Islands towards US 41 south, eastbound to southbound. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new roundabout pattern to turn right at the intersection onto US 41 south. Route C. Traveling east from Barrier Islands towards downtown, eastbound through. Travel east on State Road 789, follow new roundabout pattern to go straight through the intersection. Route D. Traveling south on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, southbound to westbound. Travel south on US 41, follow new roundabout pattern to turn right at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. Route E. Traveling south on US 41, southbound through. Travel south on US 41, follow new roundabout pattern to go straight through the intersection. Route F. Traveling north on US 41 towards Barrier Islands, northbound to westbound. Travel north on US 41, follow new roundabout pattern to turn left at the intersection onto State Road 789 west. Route G. Traveling north on US 41 towards downtown, northbound to eastbound. Travel north on US 41, follow new roundabout pattern to turn right at the intersection, continue towards downtown. Route H. Traveling north on US 41, northbound through. Travel north on US 41, follow new roundabout pattern to go straight through the intersection. More information about the project can be found on the project webpage link www.swflroads.com/Gulfstream Roundabout. This concludes our presentation, and we will now take your questions and comments. You may submit your questions or comments at any time during the meeting. To submit a question or comment, please enter them in the question box. The moderator will read the questions and comments in the order in which they are received. Please remember to limit your feedback to the subject project. Questions or comments regarding other topics or projects may not be addressed by project representatives.
Thank you for watching our presentation. We will now begin taking questions and answers after our team introduces themselves. Pinky, would you like to unmute and introduce yourself, and Chris?
There you go. Let's do this. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pinky Pakalapati, CDM Smith. I'm the project engineer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Pecor. I'm with CDM Smith. I'm the senior project engineer for the project for the construction phase.
Okay. Dylan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Dylan's here with us. Dylan DiCarlo,
Okay.
contract support specialist.
Perfect. Okay. Jeff, Gary?
Hey, this is Jeff Mednick with the Florida Department of Transportation. I was the design project manager, and looking forward to some design questions.
And my name is Gary Nadeau. I'm with Kimley Horn, the design consultant project manager.
And Jim?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Nichols. I'm the construction project manager for the Department of Transportation.
Okay. At this time, I will start reading some of our questions, and our team will be able to answer them for you. Okay, the first question is, where else has a similar traffic circle or roundabout been constructed, and when?
Similar traffic or similar roundabouts. We just finished 2 at 10th and 14th and 1 at Fruitville on the same corridor. Fruitville is complete and it's fully functional right now, and from what we see, it's working really well. And the same thing with 10th and 14th, that will be wrapped up in the next month or so. And so far, that's been working pretty well as well. So we're hoping this will be a big success, similar to those 3.
And just as a point of clarification, this will be considered a modern roundabout as opposed to a traffic circle, which does have a higher speed going through it. So I believe the speed limits through this will be 25 miles an hour, recommended 25 miles an hour.
Okay, thank you, Chris and Pinky. Okay, the next question is, I understand a pedestrian overpass will be installed across 41 at the Ritz-Carlton. Is this true?
This is Chris. As of this point in time, we do not believe that's the case. I don't know if there's anybody else on the line that has any newer information, but I know that's been talked about, but we are not under any provision right now to see that in the construction phase.
Chris, I'll take this is Jeff Mednick, the design project manager. We have been asked to look into the feasibility of a pedestrian overpass near the First Street intersection. We are still in the process of looking into alternatives and meeting with the Ritz to see if it'll be possible. We're also looking into future meetings with the contractor to see the feasibility of it, because it would be added work to the contract. It is not something that's currently in the project. It's something that is possible, but we're still working out to see if it's feasible or not.
Okay, all right. Thank you. The next question is, what environmental remedies are incorporated into the project, specifically excessive noise on US 41 and flood mitigation at the Weston Hot Crossing?
Gary, is that something that you can respond to?
Yes, I can kind of elaborate a bit. So from an environmental remedy pertaining to excessive noise, because the fact that the roundabouts really more so allow consistent flow through the roundabout itself, where it's not a signalized intersection, essentially, there's going to be likely less noise than what you would typically experience at a fully signalized intersection, just with all the stopping and starting. So ultimately, we believe that it will be a betterment in that regard. From a flood mitigation perspective, the elevation of the road has essentially the low elevation of the road, so along the curb line, has basically been raised approximately a foot. And in doing so, that will help to minimize the flooding that has been pretty pervasive along southbound 41 and westbound Gulfstream along the outside curb edge.
Thank you, Gary. We have the next question. They didn't specify which phase, but the question is, on Route A, will the same number of lanes be available?
I can answer that, Alice. Pretty much in all phases, Route A, that is, if I'm correct, it is eastbound to northbound, coming from the Barrier Islands, let's say going towards Van Wezel. That route always has 2 lanes open in all the phases.
Okay. And follow-up question from the same person is, how will they be signalized in the first phases?
The first phase is a pre-phase, which we won't be impacting any traffic. We don't expect to impact any of the traffic patterns. It is going to be the way it is right now. That is for the first 100 days. And after that, the second phase is where you'll have a very drastic traffic pattern change, which is right past the Sunset Point intersection. You'll have what is called a partial diversion diamond. I don't know if there is another official CFR.
I would call it a signal crossover.
Signal crossover. So signal crossover at Sunset Point, right past Sunset Point. Once you get into the intersection area, you won't notice it as you're driving if you follow all the signs and all that. But in theory, what it is you'll have traffic on both sides of you. So all the signs and everything will be installed to make sure that there's no confusion. There will be barrier walls installed for safety on both sides, so the traffic will be pretty well delineated.
And the same will happen to speak to it'll be signalized in those initial phases. We're calling phase 1A, 1B, 1C at the Sunset Point intersection, and then also at the Main Street intersection to the south. So in both those cases, there'll be that traffic signal shift, lane shift at those 2 points.
Thank you. All right, the next question is, prior to construction and installation of the HOX system, how will pedestrians and cyclists cross US 41 to go over the bridge?
Go over the bridge.
So I would say, I'll start off on this one. In general, the pedestrians are going to be rerouted around the intersection. For all but one phase, the pedestrian movements that will not be allowed are only right at the intersection itself. So pedestrians will be using the sidewalks all around the construction zone. There is one phase where we need to close the sidewalk right in front of the Ritz and View on that corner, that northwest corner. And traffic, pedestrian, bicyclists, and pedestrian walkers, runners will need to use the Mert Trail to go in between the Ritz and the West End, and then up over the Sunset to get around the construction zone. And again, this is all for pedestrian safety, keeping the pedestrians outside of the actual work zone where all the construction is going to be taking place.
Thank you. The next question is, will the usual entry to and exit from Golden Gate Point be changed during construction? If so, how and when?
In phase, yeah. I'm going to just start off, but I'll have Gary elaborate a little bit. In pre-phase, there won't be any change. They can make all the movements that they're doing right now. But starting from phase 1A, as I was explaining, the crossover will be in place. So because of that crossover, if you're coming southbound on 41 and took a right, you cannot make a left into Sunset Point. You have to go further to the west and make a U-turn. There is designated detour that you can follow and make a U-turn, come back and go right into Sunset Point. Gary, anything else you want to add that I missed?
No, I think that's it. I believe the question was more so pertaining to the access point from Golden Gate. Yeah. So essentially the left turn lane into Golden Gate from Gulfstream will be eliminated after the pre-phase work. So ultimately that traffic is going to have to head across the Ringling Causeway over the bridge and do a U-turn at the next signalized intersection, come back to Golden Gate Point.
Okay. The next question is, how will phase 2A be signalized?
Phase 2A, which is pretty much once those crossover signals are installed in phase 1A, are going to effect in phase 1A, that is going to continue through phase 1A, phase 1B, and phase 2A. Phase 2B is when those signals will be eliminated, the crossover signals. Until that point, those crossover signals will be in place. So there won't be any change. There won't be any change between phase 1A through phase 2A. There won't be any change.
All right. Next question. What happens when tourists keep pressing the crosswalk buttons and shutting down traffic like the crosswalk in front of the Westin?
If I could address part of that question, the crosswalk at the Westin during construction will not be operational. Again, that's going to be an active construction zone, so that hawk signal won't be used at that time. The pressing of the buttons, I'm not so sure. I believe, Gary, maybe you can help with that one. I think once you press it, it goes into its queue and its timing pattern, and I'm not sure it really affects it if you do push it a bunch of times, but please correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, that's correct, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a time gap that you can't just keep pressing and the light doesn't turn on. You have to wait for a certain time. I'm not sure what that is exactly, but you would
essentially have to be out there for 5 minutes and push it every minute or 2 minutes to keep screwing up the timing pattern to keep activating the crosswalk.
Next one is, please explain entry and exit from Golden Gate Point during each phase.
each phase. Let me see if I maybe come back to that one, Alice, because we probably
Sure.
want to show some graphics on that one.
Yes, we can show the video. And we can also communicate with the stakeholder the question independently, and we can show them the timeline.
Yeah, I think it'll be
come
better
back.
to show some kind of graphic on that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to the graphic.
And to touch on that, yeah, Alice, maybe just to touch on that is the
Sure.
folks at Golden Gate Point, you know, if there's a lot of folks that have questions, you know, maybe there's an opportunity to meet with them as well.
Yes, most definitely. Next one is, will the hot crossing remain at First Street?
No, it will be shut down during pre-phase, and I don't think we are going to turn it on until we are complete. Project is done.
So it'll be reactivated. Currently, it'll be reactivated once the project is complete.
Next one is, what is the start and estimated end date?
Okay, I'll take a stab at this one. One thing to everyone keep in mind, at this point in time, the contract has been bid. So that means I think there was 11 bidders. We have an apparent low bidder. And right now the department is going through the process of going through the contractual and administrative process. So we're expecting construction to actually start in February, March timeframe. And the idea is during the pre-phase, from that point in the end of February to beginning of March, for that first 100 days, the contractor will be doing work outside of the existing footprint, existing traffic. So the construction is expected to start again end of February, beginning of March, but traffic impacts that you'll see that first phase of traffic impacts going in won't be for the first 100 or so days. So it'll be 100 or so days after that March 1st date, if that helps. And then the expected duration is, I think it's 450 days plus weather and rain and conflicts. So looking at, I believe, Alice, we were talking about summer of 22 is an expected or projected completion timeframe.
I believe we had fall.
Fall, okay. Fall of 22.
All right, next one is, will the project solve the major flooding problem in the area?
I think the short and quick answer is no. There's a lot of work that would need to be done to solve all the flooding problems that are in the area. But like Gary said earlier, provisions have been made to help with the flooding situation that's been there. Gary, is there anything else to add to that?
I guess probably the way to clearly state that is the short duration, higher intensity summer rains that we get, the raised outside edge of pavement along with the additional drainage structures along the corridor will reduce the frequency of the flooding. However, given the proximity of the intersection to the bay and ever prevalent sea level rise, ultimately this project is not going to solve major flooding challenges in the area because it is just way too close to the bay.
And this is Jeff Mednick. Just to clarify also that there are other projects that are planned in the future for other areas of Sarasota. So farther to the west and farther to the south. So this project limits will help with the drainage in those areas, but it's not going to fix any issues outside of the project limit.
All right, next question is, they have a home at Golden Gate Point. Will they be able to turn left from westbound Gulfstream across traffic onto Golden Gate Point?
That's the similar question that we had, Alice. Let's see if there's any similar questions. We'll all answer those.
Okay.
Regarding
all right, I'll skip through all these. Yeah, we'll address them after. How will bicycle traffic safely maneuver the roundabout?
Bicycle traffic, pretty much, I'm thinking it has to the two kinds of bicyclists. The bicyclists, the professional bicyclists, they follow the roadway and use up a lane, just like a car. But if it's not like the professional bikers, they tend to use the sidewalks, which is follow the same pedestrian walkway that we have designated. for pedestrians.
Along with the Mert follows all this area as well, and that's a much wider multi-use recreational trail that is much wider. So the bicyclists are certainly welcome or expected to use that as well.
Next question. At what point will there no longer be traffic signals at the intersection?
At the intersection of Gulfstream, the traffic signals will be gone after pre-phase at the intersection. But there will be additional traffic signals that will be placed at very close to the Golden Gate Point and Main Street for that crossover. But at the intersection itself, the signals at the intersection will be gone after pre-phase, which is 100 days from when we start the project.
Then the only caveat to that is the Hawk signals will then be working in concert with the roundabout itself. So there will be signalization, but it's for the Hawks.
Is 181.
No, at the completion of the
Right,
project. I'm sorry, upon completion of the project. Yeah, sorry.
All right. Our next question is, what is the expected impact of the new traffic pattern to residents of Bay Plaza?
Bay Plaza is okay. Construction will not be past Coconut. So there won't be any construction impacts, like direct construction impacts beyond Coconut. But obviously the collateral impact of the construction will be there because Gulfstream Avenue will be under construction. So if anybody is used to entering Gulfstream from 41, they won't be able to do that in pre-phase right off the bat when we first start construction. They're closing Gulfstream at US 41. So that's one impact that you'll notice. And also the Main Street signal will have only northbound right are the only ones that are allowed to get into Main Street. So that's another impact. But other than that, you won't see any construction right in front of the Bay Plaza.
So yeah, to maybe add to that a little bit is on Gulfstream, the way to access 41 for that condo would be through Ringling, the Ringling intersection. So you would take Gulfstream down to Ringling, and then you'd be able to get out onto 41 to go towards the Barrier Islands or to go south.
And also a little bit of a correction. Let me correct myself there. When I said no construction, there won't be any construction on the roadway, but that pond area will be under construction. So we are regrading that pond, that retention pond, to make those two smaller ponds. The first one to the north and a little bit to the south. Those two will be integrated and made into one bigger pond.
All right. Our next question is, there are currently 4 lanes heading east from the Barrier Islands to north and south on 41. How many lanes will there be during construction?
During construction, pre-phase, no change. There won't be any change in pre-phase. Phase 1A, we will have 2 lanes going north and 2 lanes going south. And one lane going.
One lane going south.
One lane going south.
Yeah,
sorry. 2 lanes going north and 1 lane going south. And if you're going northbound on 41 and turning towards the Barrier Islands, you'll have 2 lanes going towards Barrier Island.
And I suppose one other thing to point out, we had an earlier question about will there be signalization at the intersection during construction? And the answer to that was no. The traffic, while you are going to have you're only going to have 2 lanes versus what you have today. You will have no signalization and no conflict point from the Barrier Islands getting up to the Fruitville intersection.
All right. Next question is, can you please confirm the timing and impacts for residents on Gulfstream Avenue, like the View and One Watergate, as well as the Ritz?
What's the question again?
The question is impacts to residents at the View, One Watergate, and the Ritz.
I guess the flooding issue. I think the construction, obviously, at the Ritz and the View, yes, you will have the brunt of the construction, and for the whole duration of the construction, there will be impacts. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, but yes, there will be a lot of construction, a lot of activity going on in that corner.
But from an access point, I believe the access is not on that corner, so
Right.
your access will remain pretty much what it is now, other than, you know, crossing the work zone, and you certainly are the ones that are right in the middle of the work zone. So, it will most likely be the full duration of the project. I will say that in phase 1A, the right turn lane, the southbound 41 to the Barrier Islands is under construction, along with a sidewalk in front of the View in the Westin. So that work is going to be completed so that that traffic pattern can be used in 1B and 2A and phase 2A and 2B. So there'll be work going on the whole time, but that portion of the work right directly adjacent with the sidewalk and that lane, that roadway lane, will be constructed in the early phase 1A. If that's any
Our next
consolation.
question. I'm sorry, Pinky, did you say something?
No, just if that's any consolation.
Okay. All right. Next question. During peak hours with a heavy north and south traffic flow, how will cars coming off the islands be able to get into the roundabout without long delays?
Let me take a stab at this one. I'm assuming this is after construction and once everything is finalized. We had the same question when we were doing the roundabouts at 10th and 14th. That's a heavily traveled roadway as well. After pretty much we're to the end of construction now, what we're noticing is that the traffic that comes constantly, it's a continuous flow. They flow through the intersection pretty smoothly because it's not long queues that are waiting. As the traffic is coming, as the cars are coming, they're going through the intersection. So you're not noticing a bunch of people waiting at the roundabout to get in. Yes, you are waiting for maybe 10 seconds during the peak hour on the main line. That is, I'm exaggerating that. I don't think I ever waited 10 seconds. So the main line is fine. Side streets, though, you probably have to wait a little more to find a gap. During the peak hour, my experience was maybe I waited probably 15 seconds, 20 seconds to find a gap. But it was significantly less than what a signalized intersection would be. A signalized intersection, that particular intersection, we used to have a signal timing of, I don't know, a minute and a half or something like that to get a green. So it's way less than that. It's a constant flow. That's the advantage of roundabout. So there's no queuing.
Gary, anything else to add to that one?
No, I don't think there's any need for me to further elaborate. That was a good response.
Okay. We have a question regarding the unconditional surrender statue. What is the plan for having that relocated?
Jeff, do you want to take that one? Or do you want me to? I can touch on it if you want.
I'll let you and maybe Alex from the city help with that one.
Sure. I'll go ahead and my understanding is that the statue, that statue and the other statue are going to be relocated by January 15th. I'm not sure of the final destination, but as far as the construction phase goes, those two statues are going to be removed for the duration of the construction period to be protected and allow us room to do the work that we need to do.
All right, next question is there any chance the ingress and egress from the roundabout onto Gulfstream be restored to two ways, both in and out of downtown, instead of just entering downtown as it is now? If not, why is it going to be just way towards downtown?
Gary, you want to
Yeah.
tackle that one?
Yeah, the design as put forth for construction ultimately was what the community kind of agreed to for that specific location. The outbound movement from the roundabout itself to the east ultimately does not result in a conflict point. So essentially traffic is circulating the roundabout, and if they want to head downtown, they're exiting from that specific location. If we were to consider, and we did consider, the westbound entry into the roundabout from Gulfstream, that actually adds a conflict point. And what happens is that lane of traffic, entry traffic, would have to cross effectively 3 lanes in order to gain access into the roundabout if they were to go directly over to the west. So based on all the analysis that was done, we felt that it was prudent to maintain the single exit lane entering into the city and not move with the option of allowing the entry lane coming to the west, out of the city into the roundabout, just because of the safety concerns associated with that particular movement.
Okay. Our next question. Traffic has been speeding from the barrier islands towards the city on Gulfstream. What traffic calming steps are taken to avoid speeding cars coming off the bridge, both during and after construction?
During construction, we reduced the speed limit from 35 to 30 miles an hour. Of course, people will speed. We had that by experience. So we'll definitely need some help from the law enforcement, which we did in the last project that we did, and they've been very helpful. So we will do the same thing. We'll be in touch with the local law enforcement to make sure that we have enforcement. And after construction, once the roundabout is in effect, the roundabout itself has those curves getting into the roundabout. That will slow people down. Will post the speed limits visibly, and I'm pretty sure with all the turns, people will have to slow down.
In addition, the speed limit will be reduced from, I believe it's currently 40 miles an hour, and will be reduced to 35 in the final configuration. During construction, I believe it is 25. So during the entire construction phase, the speed limit will be 25. So again, and with the signals slowing people down at the kind of entry points, the actual flow through the construction zone with heavy curves or sharp curves, I should say, will slow traffic down as well. And then, like Pinky said, the expectation and the anecdotal evidence that we've seen in our experience is that traffic does slow because one thing that cars don't like is curbs. So we put curbs in there, and we've got rumble strips to try to guide people with the laneage. So they will be slowing down. We would expect them to slow down through the roundabout.
And also, usually, if there is a light, people are trying to catch the light, so they're speeding. Now you don't have that.
Okay. All right. Our next question is, How much of the project time will two-lane traffic be one lane only? Which lanes and when?
The eastbound to northbound always has 2 lanes. Eastbound to southbound will have 1 lane traffic. In the phase 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B as well. I think 2B, not sure. But pretty much for most of the construction after the pre-phase, southbound or eastbound to southbound will be 1 lane. Eastbound to northbound, 2 lanes, and northbound to westbound, going towards the barrier islands, will always be 2 lanes maintained. Southbound to going towards the barrier island, that will be the right turn, southbound right turn, will be 1 lane. After well, most of the time, yeah.
Similar.
Okay.
Yeah. What it is.
Next question is, I understand landscaping has not been designed yet. When will it be, and what is the estimated month and year that landscaping will be complete?
Jeff can probably take this, but I think you're right. The design is going to be started soon, and it would be expected to let a landscaping plan construction contract following our construction on this project. Jeff, anything else?
Yeah, yes, that is correct. With these roundabout projects, the state tries to have the landscaping contract start directly after the roadway project, and it helps with the maintenance side of it, with making sure that the plants are around as long as possible. So.
Okay. All right. At this time, it's 5:57. So let's round back to the question about the Golden Gate Point entrance. Pinky, if you would like to share your screen.
Yep. Can you see it, Alice?
One moment.
I can see it, Pinky.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. So the question was what kind of movements are allowed at Golden Gate Point? Is that right, Alice?
Yeah, in general, we have several regarding Golden Gate Point. So if you could just explain some of the movements in and out of Golden Gate.
In general, for most of the construction, I believe this is the case. If you're coming out of Golden Gate and if you want to take a right going towards the city, then yeah, I mean regular, you take a right and follow the signs and go through the traffic crossover. If you want to go into Golden Gate Point, if you're let's say if you're traveling south on 41, and if you want to get into Golden Gate Point, then you go south on 41, take a right at the intersection, or follow the traffic route depending on the phase you're in. But you'll be traveling on Gulfstream going west, and you cannot make a left turn. You cannot make a left turn into Golden Gate Point at the intersection. You have to go through the intersection to the next signalized intersection. It will be designated route. You have to go straight through, make a U-turn, and come back and travel east, and then take a right into Golden Gate Point. Let me see if I can draw something here on the picture. See if it comes up.
And that is only the people that are coming south on 41 would have to do that. If you're coming from the south, coming up, going northbound on 41, you would be able to make a left turn into Golden Gate. Is that right, Gary?
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're coming south on 41, I'm just going to draw in general. So it'll be. Oh, that's small.
In the meantime, while Pinky's drawing the graphic. This meeting is being recorded and it will be available on the project website. So if any questions or comments were not answered, please feel free to contact me at the information provided, and we will respond with the answer to your questions. Also, if you would like a transcript of the meeting mailed to you, reach out to me and we'll send it to you as well.
Okay, this is the picture that you see here is phase 1A. I'll see if I can draw on this and show you how the route is going to be. If you're going south, doesn't show up. I think there's a delay.
Oh, yeah, it's going. It's going to keep going. It's just not very big.
Also, if you would like to be added to the project notifications for updates, reach out to me as well and I'll add you to our stakeholder database. And you can reach me at alice.ramos@dot.state.fl.us, and it's provided on the project website.
So what Pinky showed or tried to show there is the blue hand-drawn line. And that's essentially if you're coming south on 41, you'll go around the construction zone within your lanes, and then you will go out towards go out on the bridge, Bird Key, do a U-turn, and then come back to get to Golden Gate. If you're coming from the south and going northbound, you will come right up through and be on the left side of the road and be able to make a left turn into Golden Gate.
Yeah, if you're coming from the south, then you'll follow this route. You'll follow this route. And hello.
So, oh, is it yellow? Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay. So yeah, he tried to show that again, coming from the south, but essentially you'll come up through the traffic lanes and be able to make a left turn into Golden Gate Point. The only other thing I'd like to add, Alice, is I believe we have a record of all these questions, and I know there was
Yes,
some.
we do.
I've seen some follow-up questions, and we'll certainly address each and every one of those and respond back.
Most definitely. We will provide a transcript of all the questions provided in the comments, and we will answer them, and they will be provided as part of the meeting package. Okay? Well, thank you for attending our presentation. This concludes the public meeting, and have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.